The final episode of Disney and Marvel's What If series has finally come to an end, and we're here to break down all the Easter eggs and give you a review of the series as a whole. It was kind of obvious from the last couple of episodes, but they've been building towards this big reveal of having all of these episodes interconnected and getting these individual stories. It was really exciting, and it kind of came to fruition in this episode. I loved the title of this episode, What If the Watcher Broke His Oath? Not my favorite episode of the series. I think the last two episodes were pretty good. But we got a whole lot of stuff in this episode in regards to multiverse rules and what's going on with regards to the Watcher and these other universes. In some future videos, we'll break that down. Having said that, stick around this coming weekend. Myself and the astounding Cameron, check out his YouTube channel in a link below, are going to do a podcast where we review the entire series and talk through the show, the things we like, some multiverse theories, really go into depth as to what it means and what's coming and our thoughts on the show. So really excited to be able to partner with him. Check out his channel if you get a chance to. Gonna jump right into the Easter eggs because honestly there weren't a lot of, I got that reference type moments, but there were a lot of beats from old episodes in this series, and there were also some beats from some old movies that we have seen in the live action MCU. And so, this starts off with Captain Carter in a Quinjet with Black Widow and then Crossbones and a S.H.I.E.L.D. strike force on their way to take out Batroc and the Lemurian Star, which is from the beginning of Captain America and the Winter Soldier. And so you got some of those beats, but I love the way the episode started off where the Watcher kind of pops in and pulls people out, and you got to see a little bit of the ending from the cliffhanger of each episode that we saw. Now, maybe somebody can help me out, but the Gamora and Tony Stark portion that were connected together, wasn't really sure where that came from, but it looked like they were somewhere, looked like Nidavellir to me, creating something. So it was very interesting. I didn't quite get that one. Maybe I missed something. Admittedly, I'm making this video pretty quick because I've got a busy schedule this week, but I may have to come back and go, oh, that's where this was. But all of them were, that they pulled Killmonger away from his trial. They pulled Thor away from Vegas while he's fighting off the Ultron threat. All these different characters that got pulled in, and then they were able to connect in the zombie episode as well, and the original Ultron episode by bringing in the zombies. Doctor Strange brings in the zombies as they're fighting Ultron, and then they get transported to the world where Black Widow is the only one left in that universe where they were fighting Ultron to begin with. And so I really liked the way that they crossed everything over. Having said that, all of those different connections gave us a lot of information about how Marvel may view the multiverse moving forward. Now, with regards to traveling between the multiverses, I think that prism portal, the portal that looks like a prism, I'm assuming that might be a technique, a camera trick, or a CG marker that they're going to use in the future to let you know we're traveling between universes. We got a little bit of an interaction between the characters where they're saying, well, on my universe this happened, and on my universe that happened. And just that little bit of conversation really tickled my curiosity to say, oh, I can't wait for more of those moments, for these universes to come together. And then, of course, at the end, where the Watcher throws Black Widow into a universe where they had lost their Widow, I thought was really cool too. I'm wondering if maybe in Season 2 we get to see some of that, or maybe in a live-action movie one of these days we get to see characters being pulled in from other multiverses to be used. I know they've teased that with Secret Invasion. They've teased that with a bunch of other things, and I think it's inevitable because they have that possibility. And old characters and actors will get the opportunity to play the same character, but with different little nuances, which is going to be a lot of fun. And I would imagine is a really good pull for those actors to come back to a character because they're not having to rehash the same thing, but they can reinvent the character and do some really cool new things with it. And it keeps the story and that character fresh, not only for us with the MCU storyline, but even for the actors. That I think that would give them some incentive to want to come back. The fight off and on through the entire thing I thought was great. Most of the episode was devoted to that fight. I liked the little aspects of that fight where Doctor Strange is having to fight with his inner demons, so to speak, where he uses his powers to protect everybody else, and they're learning to work together. How Black Widow got drawn into that. We saw Doctor Strange create a portal and drop zombies into it. That version of Doctor Strange obviously is aware of the multiverse, but he used one of his portals to bring things in from another universe. I think that might have gotten lost real briefly. And so unless the universe that the Watcher threw them into, where there was no intelligent life, was in fact the zombie universe. I kind of doubt that, but with Doctor Strange outside of the multiverse, in a pocket dimension, talking with the Watcher, he was able to see those things, and so he created his own portal. I didn't know if maybe they were in that universe and he created a portal for those zombies to come through, or if he was able to create portals between universes, like the Watcher was able to, in which case that opens up a whole new can of things. And so a lot of multiverse rules, a lot of multiverse questions. One of the rules we learned was that the physics apply somewhat differently in different universes, that something you build in one universe may not have an effect on something in another universe. If I create a car that runs on gasoline here, and I take that car to another universe, the gasoline in that universe may not work. Now, the way that we got that example was Gamora had created this device. It all, honestly, to me, looked like something that Rocket would create, but it created this device that would destroy the Infinity Stones, which tells me she's in a battle with Thanos somewhere, and she is on her own mission to destroy the Infinity Stones, but she needed the Soul Stone. You find out later she needed the Soul Stone to power the device, and then the device would seek out the other stones and destroy them. But as the device does that, she discovers that the device did not destroy the stones because it was made to destroy the stones in her universe, and it did not have the same effect on the stones in this other universe. The other rule that we got, Ultron had his version of the Time Stone, and Doctor Strange had his version of the Time Stone, and both of them were able to function in their universe. Now, we kind of got that in Endgame. We got that idea, but remember, in Endgame, we hadn't created multiverses yet. We had only created controlled branches within a Kang-controlled universe. I say Kang, He Who Remains, because we learned in Loki that He Who Remains has been controlling this particular timeline. There is a multiverse video forthcoming in the next couple of weeks. Now that I have seen What If and learned a couple of things and seen how they're kind of creating these multiverses, have a little better idea of how not only what Marvel might be doing here, but how to explain those things. So be looking for that. The interesting things here, the pocket dimension that they trapped Ultron and Killmonger in as they are fighting over the stones. Well, I say Ultron. Zola, actually. I loved that they brought him back in. Again, if he is alive in another universe or he is alive in another part of our world, it stands to reason that in the live action portion of the MCU, Zola might be somewhere, and I'm still holding out hope for that. I love that character. I love the idea that they put him into a computer and that he was still alive in that regard. and I think he's still around somehow. Also stands to reason that Ultron may still be around somewhere too, because Killmonger had a helmet that glowed red. It actually lends some credence to an old fan theory in Spider-Man Homecoming, where Peter Parker is attacking one of the shipments, the SHIELD shipments that Vulture is trying to get, and he's looking at all the trash in this convoy, and he finds an Ultron helmet, and it's glowing red. If the What If episode coincides with that, then maybe that fan theory was true, that if the eyes were glowing, it stands to reason that perhaps Ultron was still alive in some form. So, who knows? Lots of different things they could play with there. They may never come to fruition, but I think Marvel intentionally leaves some things a little ambiguous, and they probably put a little sticky note somewhere or put a pointer in it so that they can come back to it if they need to, and they can use that as part of the story. Doesn't bother me that they do that, but I really enjoyed it. The only thing that I was a little, okay, but it actually has a little bit of an explanation, was Captain Carter jumping towards Ultron, Black Widow catapulting in her, I don't know the word motorcycle. I've lost the word motorcycle. Catapulting in her motorcycle and shooting her arrow, and it hitting Ultron right in the eye. Was a little bit like, okay, come on. However, it is the multiverse. Anything can happen, as we learned last week. There's an insinuation there that the Watcher knew what was going to happen. Doctor Strange kind of says, hey, you watched this, every possibility. You knew what was going to happen, and you knew this had to happen. Tells us a couple of things. One, it kind of harkens back to Doctor Strange in Infinity War, looking through all possible realities and finding the one that would work. Kind of being outside of time in that respect. Two, it teaches us something else about the Watcher that we kind of already knew, but they needed to explain a little bit better, was that not only is the Watcher outside of reality, and he can see all these different realities through his prism world, or quantum realm, whatever you want to call it, but he is also outside of time in that he can jump back and forth and view time and move things around. So he has a lot of power and wields a lot of power, and I'm curious to see if he pops up any place other than just the What If series, but if he pops up in the live action universe as well. The only thing that we haven't gotten yet, and I think we're going to in the next couple of movies, is designations for these universes. What do we call the prime universe that we've been watching the movies for up until now? What do we call all these other universes that we've seen? Because we've seen at least 8 different universes in this What If series. I would say 8, possibly 9, if the universe that they dropped Black Widow into at the end is a different universe as well. All kinds of different things and all kinds of different possibilities. I really enjoyed the show. I liked all the different things that they brought to it, and it was really enjoyable. That it had a lot of anime feels to it, that a lot of the shots and a lot of the imagery was really spectacular and really fun to watch. And for somebody that's a diehard fan that wants all those little details, it kind of gave you some backstory and this little extra, like, here's some rules and here's some things you might need to know without throwing everything into chaos in these other worlds. I also think there might be some throwbacks to that in the movies that are going to be great for those diehard fans, but aren't going to be a big deal if they get lost on casual viewers. So, really exciting, a lot of fun to watch. Stick around. Next week, we're going to have a podcast with myself and the Astounding Cameron. Remember, his link for his channel is in the comments section below. And also the What If scoreboard. At the end of every series, I do a wrap-up video where I talk about my favorite episodes, and I talk about how this series ranked with the other series. This one's going to be a little harder because it is animated, but I have some thoughts on it, so stick around for that. Going to be a little shorter video, but I'm excited to share my thoughts on the different videos and the different episodes and what we thought about them, as well as kind of talk through some things that Cameron and I discussed over the weekend. So tell us what you guys thought. Tell us some things that you caught, the different Easter eggs, your ideas on the multiverse and beyond, where they're going to go with this series. The bonus scene teased a season 2 for sure. Captain Carter gets her own Steve frozen in ice moment where Black Widow finds the Hydra Stomper in the belly of the Lemurian star with presumably Steve Rogers inside of it. And so a lot of possibilities for a season 2, which has already been confirmed to this series. Really going to be exciting, going to be a lot of fun. I hope you guys stick around for it. Don't forget to watch our next couple of videos that are coming out in a few days, as well as some new surprises and some more interesting videos that I think you'll like coming soon after that. As always, like this video, subscribe to it, and turn on notifications so when we drop new content, you'll be the first to know about it. Until the next series, we'll see you then.